Where is it that a team from India, 3 super smart engineers with, not 100 million, but let's say 10 million, could actually build something truly substantial?
We're going to tell you it's totally hopeless to compete with us on training foundation models. You shouldn't try, and it's your job to try anyway. I think it is pretty hopeless, but.
Reading between the lines here, what Sam Altman was saying was that without huge amounts of capital, India just can't compete with OpenAI. But this actually lit a fire beneath Indian entrepreneurs, specifically when Sam said you should try anyway, because if there's one thing that India is great at, it's proving the rest of the world wrong. In fact, early on in 2023, Bill Gates published a blog post on India saying India has proven it can tackle big challenges. The country eradicated polio, lowered HIV transmission, reduced poverty, cut infant mortality, and increased access to sanitation and financial services. But Indians don't need the validation of Bill Gates to tell them that their country is moving in the right direction. If you've been living in India for the last couple of years like I have, I've been here for the last 6 years, and I've seen so much development and positive improvement in that time span. And if you're in India watching this video right now, you've probably seen it happen before your eyes too. It's incredible. A great example of this is India's rapid increase in internet penetration over the last couple of years, and what this means for the banking sector. Through initiatives like Aadhaar, Digital India, UPI, and of course extremely affordable mobile connectivity thanks to Jio, India has become, in just the last couple of years, a country that the rest of the world looks up to for inspiration on how to increase financial inclusion and implement digital payments. So when Sam Altman says, I think it's pretty hopeless, he clearly doesn't know which country he's talking about. From colonized to free, from nationalized to privatized, from offline to online, from motorized to electric, India has come an incredibly long way in a very short span of time. But how will India fare during this next big transition, from natural human intelligence to artificial intelligence? Well, in response to Sam's statement, CP Gunarni, who is the CEO of Tech Mahindra, said challenge accepted. He went on to explain that Tech Mahindra's AI think tank is in action, trying to apply human and machine intelligence to boost innovation and transform India. Of course, what's happening in the business and tech world of India is very different from what's happening in the education world of India. For the time being, India's education system is not preparing young people for the realities of an AI-powered future. Classrooms are still firmly rooted in the past, with rote memorization being just as high a priority today as it was back when the public internet came to India back in the 90s. While schools are falling behind, entrepreneurs in India are rising to the challenge, and even amidst a funding winter, there are more and more AI startups popping up every single day. From $680 million in 2022, India's AI market size is expected to grow to $4 billion by 2028. That's a more than 5.7x increase, which is admittedly a fraction of the American AI market today, and also in 5 years when the American AI market is projected to cross $100 billion in value. But I wouldn't be surprised if India ends up shocking the rest of the world yet again with how quickly it can adopt and indigenize this new technology. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at 10 Indian AI startups that you've probably never heard of, but definitely need to be keeping an eye on. And the first one that I want to talk about today is Goodmeetings. This company has an incredibly self-explanatory name, and they definitely deliver on this promise of making sure that companies have good meetings with their customers by automatically recording and transcribing video meetings and organizing them in an easily searchable library. Using generative AI, Goodmeetings generates meeting summaries so that employees don't need to manually take notes while the meeting is happening, and the platform also makes suggestions on meeting topics that can be acted on. Apart from this, Goodmeetings also curates a reel of key moments from the meeting so that teams can quickly skim through and find the most important parts later on. And for the time being, Goodmeetings is specifically oriented towards sales and customer success calls, but I would also encourage the folks over at Goodmeetings, if you're watching this video, to possibly consider creating something for non-customer use cases. So there's just tons of companies out there that do regular meetings and they do it over video call, and they would love a platform like Goodmeetings to transcribe, record, and also provide insights on the meetings that they're doing so that they can improve them going forward. Goodmeetings is based in Bengaluru and was founded in 2020, and so far they've raised $1.7 million as part of their pre-Series A round led by Chiratae Ventures. Moving into number 2 now, we have another very straightforwardly named company, Stable Diffusion API. And basically what these guys are building building is Stable Diffusion as a service. So you can generate images using hundreds and hundreds of different models, and it's completely free. Seriously, there's no credit card required. You don't have to pay a single rupee before you generate these images. And there's also no limit to the number of images that you can generate either. But the free version does take a little bit of time to generate these images because you're not getting priority access to Stable Diffusion API's GPUs, which are all located in Bengaluru, by the way. But if you are a power user, then they also have paid plans too, so that you can get your images generated as quickly as possible. And they also offer enterprise solutions too, with dedicated GPUs and servers for complete privacy and limitless image and video generation. And by the way, they also offer text-to-speech AI as well. Check it out.
Take a listen, because this audio is a blend of human spark and my magic, brought to you by Melody Labs. It's like a peek into tomorrow's symphony right in your ear.
You can find a link to their text-to-speech platform, Lab.ai, in the description down below. And Adhit Joshi, the founder of Stable Diffusion API, is actually a friend of mine. He started this company as a one-man team in the Tier 3 city of Patan in Gujarat, and that's actually where he was living when I met him. Now, though, his bootstrap startup is generating hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit each month, and they've also shifted their headquarters to Bengaluru. All right, next up, this is another B2B AI solution, but what they're building is pretty interesting. So one thing that a lot of companies struggle with is hiring and also employee attrition. Basically, retaining employees is really difficult because when it comes down to it, a big part of why employees join and stay at companies is money. But how do companies decide how much to offer? Well, the reality, honestly, is that oftentimes it's a lot of guesswork and trial and error. Hiring teams will just offer X amount, and if they're not able to hire the right kinds of people at that number, then they'll increase it. And also, it's 2023, so the culture right now is that even once a company hires an employee, there's really no guarantee that that employee will stay there for long. They might choose to leave after 1 year or maybe even 6 months if they don't feel like they're being appreciated financially. And so how do companies know how much to offer when they promote these employees? Sometimes a 2,000 or 3,000 rupee pay increase for a promotion is more insulting than beneficial. So this is where Hiresure comes into the picture. Their AI platform uses real-time industry and internal company data to accurately provide fair, competitive pay bands for employee hiring and promotion. And they can also predict offer declines based on the compensation a company is planning to offer. These guys were a part of YC's summer 2022 batch. They're based in Bengaluru, and in February of 2023, they raised $2.5 million in a seed round led by Y Combinator and Binny Bansal's 3-State Capital. Moving on to our next AI startup, EatX is a computer vision startup that's enabling restaurants to speed things up. As we all know, there's nothing more frustrating than waiting for food for ridiculous amounts of time at a restaurant, but this is also pretty common. And some of the most successful restaurants in the world have solved this problem flawlessly. So for example, if you've ever seen the movie The Founder, then you know how McDonald's was able to organize its kitchens and optimize for speed over everything else. And this was back in the 1950s, but today with the power of AI, EatX is bringing the same level of speed and efficiency to restaurant kitchens. With their AI's top-down view of restaurant staff behavior, they can see if staff are using the right ingredients and also track employee speed and productivity. This is a Bengaluru-based company founded by serial entrepreneur and IIT Madras dropout Sandeep M in 2022. All right, next up, this one popped up on my radar because this startup is actually part of Google for Startups Accelerator in India in 2023, Vitra.ai. They're a Bengaluru-based creator-oriented startup that transcribes and translates videos into other languages. And as a creator myself, I think it's easier if I just show you what I'm talking about, let you listen to the AI technology that these guys have created. So,
तो अगर आपने ध्यान दिया है तो मैं अब आपसे हिंदी में बात कर रहा हूं
ಮತ್ತು ಈಗ ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಭಾಷೆಯನ್ನು ಕನ್ನಡಕ್ಕೆ ಬದಲಾಯಿಸಿದ್ದೇನೆ
आणि आता मी तुमच्याशी मराठीत बोलू शकलो आहे.
And the amazing thing is that this platform doesn't just do Indian languages. So with Vitra, you can translate your videos into pretty much any language that's out there. From the top here, you can see Afrikaans, Amharic, Arabic, Bangla, Bengali. I mean, the list here is really, really long. There's more than 75 languages here. Moving on to the next AI company on this list, we actually have a startup created by Paras Chopra, who is a seasoned SaaSpreneur. He's the founder of Wingify, along with a number of other companies, and now he's building a Discord-based AI personal assistant to help you crush your goals, and it's called Nintee. So the way that this works is actually really interesting because they've trained their AI on thousands of podcasts. Using this database, Nintee is able to coach you through the challenges of life when it comes to health, wealth, and wisdom. The startup, which is a remote team of people working out of India, has raised $2.5 million so far from VCs and angel investors. Next up, we have a shovel company. What do I mean by that? Well, while most AI companies are building products and services right now, in other words, they're trying to dig gold out of the ground during this AI gold rush, MachineHack Generative AI is selling shovels for all of the people digging. This startup, which is based in Bengaluru, has built a platform to fill the gap left by India's education system, which isn't preparing young people for the AI future that we're going to be living in. And so what MachineHack Generative AI is doing is they're hosting AI competitions, hackathons, and courses. They also have an enterprise offering wherein they help large companies to hire people directly from their platform because they have all of the data of their user skill level, so they're actually able to recommend the right candidates for each enterprise client. Now, apart from helping people to learn more about AI and getting better at using it or getting hired for it, MachineHack has also built a product, Datalyze, which anybody can use to explore and analyze large data sets with the help of AI. Oh, and also their logo is a space monkey with a spear gun, so there's that as well. All right, now moving on to our next AI company here. They're taking the age-old tradition of celebrities selling their image to companies in exchange for profit, and they're revolutionizing it with AI. Oftentimes, celebrities really don't care what they're promoting. They just let some photographers take pictures of them in a studio, and then they make tons of money because their image of themselves goes up next to a product on the side of the expressway or on a television set. So what if they could do the same exact thing, but reach way more people in an extremely personalized way? Well, that is exactly what Rephrase.ai is offering. Take a look.
इस दिवाली आप भी ना अपने पास वाली चॉइस ऑफ फैशन से ही कपड़ों की शॉपिंग करना। पास वाले आजकल फैशन से ही, रॉयल फैशन से ही, एमके क्लॉथ्स से ही, पास वाली लक्ष्मी कलेक्शन से ही कपड़ों की शॉपिंग करना। इस दिवाली आप भी ना अपने पास।
Different versions of the same ad with local store names were targeted as per the PIN code of the viewer.
So basically, using deepfake technology and AI audio generation, they're able to create customized targeted ads for consumers across social media using a single video of a celebrity. They've done this work now with brands like Johnson & Johnson, Nivea, Raymond, Microsoft, PwC, and of course Cadbury, as you just saw. These guys are based in Bengaluru. The company started in 2018, and so far they've raised $12 million, including a $10.6 million Series A in 2022. All right, next up, we have a company that we've already featured here at Backstage with Millionaires before. You might have heard of them, -0. They've created India's first fully autonomous vehicle, Z-Pod, which admittedly is a technology showcase, and it's very unlikely that we'll see these pods in actual production and on the roads of India anytime soon, and that's not really the company's strategy anyways. It's very likely that -0 is in the process of raising funds right now because currently they don't have a source of revenue. Their last fundraise was $1.7 million back in 2022, and they'll definitely need a fresh infusion of capital to continue. And of course, also we are in the middle of a funding winter right now, but if they're able to raise a pre-Series A or Series A round, I can definitely see -0 being the leader in India's autonomous driving space for years to come. So we actually sat down with one of the co-founders of this company, Gagandeep Rihal, and if you want to watch the podcast where I talk about the entire story of the company with him, you can find a link to it up here. All right, now let's move on to the last company in this list, and up until this point, this list hasn't really been sorted in terms of best to worst or worst to best, but this last company is definitely worthy of admiration, recognition, and your attention. This startup is called Karya, and the best way that I can explain what they're doing is to first lay out the problem that they're solving. So AI, as we know, is built on data and data sets. So AI needs information to be trained on and to learn from. And in 2023, data is extremely valuable. It's basically like digital gold, and Karya is in the business of collecting that data and selling it to big companies. Now, this market, the global AI data space, is projected to be worth about $17 billion by 2030, and Karya is capturing a chunk of that market for itself by asking people living in rural India to speak into their phones. So the way that this works is that the Karya app shows users text in their native language, and then it pays them when they record audio clips of them speaking that text, and then this data is sold to companies who want to train their AI on these regional languages. Now, the amount of money that these workers, these users of this app, are able to earn per hour from this app might seems small, it's only about 400 rupees. But do keep in mind here that these are people living in villages and small towns, basically tier 3, 4, and beyond. So 400 rupees can actually make a meaningful difference in their lives. And there is a upper limit to how much they can earn through the app. So the maximum a worker can earn is 1.24 lakh rupees over multiple days of work. But that's a lot of money for just sitting and speaking into your phone instead of having to do backbreaking labor. And the other awesome thing that Karya does for these workers is it gives them ownership over the data that they give to Karya. So every time that data is sold and resold to companies, those workers get 100% of the revenue generated from that sale. Karya's clients include IIT Madras, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Microsoft, MIT, and Stanford, and they're currently building voice data sets in Kannada, Marathi, Telugu, Hindi, Bengali, and Malayalam. Karya was founded in 2021. They're based in Bengaluru, and so far they've paid out 6.5 crore rupees in wages to more than 30,000 people in rural India. Now, I left this for the end. They're actually a non-profit, so they're not a business in the traditional sense. They're doing this mainly to help people in rural India, and they do cover their costs with some of the revenue that they generate, but everything else goes to helping the people that are working with this app. But I think it's incredible that people are using AI for these kinds of use cases to actually help people in need, and we need more people like that. So I left it for the end. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.